This is Syncro by Magic Pro Ideas, an app that will allow you to do a ton of magic with just a stopwatch on your spectator's phone. Is this trick right for you? Stick around to find out. So let's do an effect that you could do with Syncro. Now this is very cool. It's based on something you do learn in the tutorial, but I added a bit of my own handling on it. So we're going to start off by giving the deck a bit of a mix like this. Sorry. Now here's what we're going to do. We're going to give the deck, as I said, some cuts and some shuffles like that. And they're now going to take out any 4 cards, and they can really take any card. Let's say that one, that one, that one, and that one. Okay, fair. Now, there's no way I could have predicted in advance which cards they would have taken, because they could have taken any 4 out of this deck of cards. But we're going to set that aside. Now, this is an unprepared phone. I did not touch it before now, but I'm going to open up the stopwatch app. Where is it? Is it here? Is it here? Here it is, here it is. Okay. There. Now, here's what we're going to do. Now that we have the stopwatch app open, what we're going to do is they can check the clock. It really is, they can start and stop whenever they want, and it works. And then here's what we're going to do. They can start the clock, and then they can hold it against their chest and stop it whenever they want. I'm not going to look when I'm going to stop it, but I'm just going to hit it at a random point. So let's say, how about there? Yeah, it stopped. 23:68, 23 seconds and 68 milliseconds. Now what's cool is the deck was shuffled and then they chose any 4 cards, yet somehow I predicted exactly 23:68. And that's one of many possible routines you can do with Syncro. And now let's get into the review. I hope you enjoyed that performance of one of the many effects you can do with Syncro. This effect is very similar to Chronoforce Pro by Sami Ali, which I also reviewed, but there are some differences which we'll cover more shortly. I want to thank Magic Pro Ideas for sending this product to me to review. Also, all Magic distributors and creators, if you'd like me to review your product, contact me at bfanmail@gmail.com. Now, without further ado, let's get into the review. What do you get when you buy Syncro? When you buy this effect from a Magic shop, you will get an NFC tag, your personalized license code, which can be used on your spectator's phone, and finally, you'll be able to access your tutorial on the app. Now, what is the quality of the gimmick? There is no gimmick. However, you do get an NFC tag if you buy this from a brick and mortar Magic store, or buy it online if you buy the physical version. I got a digital license and no NFC tag, however. The app quality is really good. It does need internet unless you open the app while there's no internet, or while there is internet, sorry, and then leave it on. And if you leave it open, then when there's no internet, you'll still be able to access the app even when you're offline. Then, yeah, you can use it offline. The app has multiple functions, is easy to operate, and it's easy to go from setting to setting, even on your spectator's phone. You can easily make the watch normal as well on their phone, so they can test to see if the stopwatch is real. However, if they accidentally hit other settings on stopwatch, that may cause some issues. I don't want to expand too much on that. You can go from setting to setting, as I said, very easy, without having to hide the phone, and that's a great feature. If you want to put the app on your spectator's phone, it's easy to do as well, but you won't want your spectator to see what you're doing. The app lets you set up everything before the performance on the Syncro app, and the Syncro app is different from the app that the performance happens on, but those two apps are connected. If the audience's phone has a locked home screen, you can't add the stopwatch to their phone. So the color of the stopwatch, when I tried this with someone else's phone, changed color when I added my personal passcode to the spectator's phone, which I think is a little bit of a glitch, but I think that'll get resolved really soon. Now, how's the tutorial? The tutorial is about 20 minutes. It's dubbed over in English. The video is good. The person explaining the effect isn't speaking English, but there is English audio over his speaking. The audio, for the most part, lines up with the visuals on the screen, and the video is clear. The tutorial goes through all the settings, how to do everything with an Android and an iPhone, how to configure the NFC tag, and how to set up the app on your spectator's phone, even without the NFC tag, with nothing except their phone. Now, what we're going to talk about next is the angles. The angles are a bit subjective. For this effect, the angles are pretty good. However, you won't want anyone to be able to see what you're doing on their phone. If you're holding it close to your chest, you may be able to be completely surrounded. However, if you have people around you, just keep in mind you're going to want to be careful, because what you're doing on the phone will take about, close to 15 seconds. It could take more, but in the performance, the phone really was not set up in any way. I just started setting it up in front of you guys. That phone was not rigged. It could have been a borrowed phone. But yeah, you won't want anyone directly behind you seeing their phone screen, which I think may be a bit suspicious that you're on their phone looking. They don't know what you're doing. But if you do it quick enough, they probably shouldn't be suspicious. And I'd say if you can hold the phone really close to your chest while doing everything, the angle should be about 180 degrees. You just won't want people behind you. But again, if you really want to be surrounded, you probably could be. Because for the most part, the routine doesn't have any angle restrictions. Of course, there are multiple routines, but at least the routine I showed you, once the phone is set up, there's no angle restrictions. You can be surrounded. But while setting up, again, there are some slight restrictions. Are there any live performances on the tutorial? There aren't live performances in public for the tutorial. However, there are live performances of the effects on a person in the house or the studio. So it's like a studio performance. Now, is this examinable? Your spectator's cell phone is examinable, but after the performance, you will have to clean up by removing the stopwatch from your spectator's phone. Mid-performance, the stopwatch is also examinable. They can tap the stopwatch, they can hit the lap, they can reset it as many times as they want, and then when you're ready, without any visible switches or having to turn the screen towards yourself, you can just easily get the phone while in full view, in broad daylight. You can turn it and get it ready to do any of the effects without having to turn the phone at all. So you can do the effects back to back or in any order you want to perform them in. Now, let's talk about the difficulty and practicality of the effect. How hard is this trick to do? There are many different effects you can do with this. They're all pretty easy. I guess the most difficult part of the effect is adding the app to your spectator's phone as fast as possible without them thinking you're doing anything fishy with their phone. It's also pretty practical. You can do it on an iPhone or Android phone. I'm not sure if you could do it on a different type of phone, but it can be performed in so many different scenarios. It's very practical. And the fact it's done with their phone adds a lot of impact to this. Is there any DIY? There is no DIY, but you do have to configure the NFC tag, which is covered in the tutorial. How much pocket space is required? All you have to carry around is your phone. The app works on iPhone and Android phones. You also can borrow any phone that is an iPhone or Android. Now, what is the reset like for this effect? For this effect, it really depends on the routine you're doing. For example, the routine I did just now in the performance, the reset you can do in front of your audience. You have to just call cards and do a false shuffle. And I'm not really revealing too much there because I'm not talking about the app too much. But with the reset for the app, all you have to do is remove the app from your spectator's phone. It takes about 5 to 10 seconds, and your spectator shouldn't suspect anything because it's happening on the offbeat. And that's pretty good. But as I said, the reset depends on the effect. There is a trick that you can do that's taught in the tutorial that's very similar to what I did, but it's a time prediction. So it predicts where they say stop on the stopwatch, and they can hit the stop on the stopwatch. And the reset for that is instant, as with most of the effects. But for all of the effects, generally, the reset can be done right in front of your spectators. However, again, they won't want to see what you're doing. Now, let's see if the trailer and ad copy are honest. The ad copy states this: Syncro, pro stopwatch on borrowed phones. Syncro is a magic stopwatch that you can use on your phone, or even better, on the spectator's phones very easily, just by using an NFC tag included that you can palm, or also by entering a small URL in front of the noses of your spectators. With Syncro, you can force, predict, or guess any time, even the milliseconds, laps, and more. The spectator will make time, stopping whenever he wants, and you'll be able to predict or guess all resulting milliseconds exactly. You will also have total control over everything your spectator does with their stopwatch. Important points. On borrowed phones, you can use Syncro or on your spectator's phones, whether iPhone or Android. You can also use it on your phone. Cloning system. You'll receive it on your stopwatch, everything that your spectator does on his stopwatch. NFC. You'll receive an NFC tag with the physical license that you can purchase at Magic stores. Forces and more. You'll be able to force, predict, or guess any time, even the milliseconds, laps, and more. Cloning system, matching times. You'll receive all the times that a spectator makes on his stopwatch directly on yours. Complete times, milliseconds, and even all the laps he makes. With this, you will be able to incredibly guess at what time he stopped or what time he is generated. And you can make this an incredible match where you will have the exact same time or times on your stopwatch that he makes on his stopwatch. Camouflage system. Syncro auto detect what type of phone your spectator has and will show an identical iPhone stopwatch on or a modern Android stopwatch. In the instructional video, you will learn how to perform it. NFC, what will you receive? You will receive a physical license that will allow you to activate the app for life. Inside the package, you'll find an included NFC chip. You will need to watch the instructions inside the app to know how to use it. Easy learning and setup. You'll be able to configure Syncro in just a few seconds since it does not have complicated configurations. You'll be able to learn how to use all of its features very quickly. You'll be amazed at how easy it is to use and how powerful Syncro is. Multi-language. You'll be able to perform Syncro in any language since you can change all the text in the stopwatch to your language. Also, you can set dot or comma depending on how it looks on your real stopwatch. iOS and Android. Syncro works on all iOS and Android phones. FAQ. Can the phone owner see the screen? Yes, everyone can see the iPhone stopwatch after you have put it on the home screen. It will take you 2 seconds since it's exactly the same as the real iPhone stopwatch. On Android, you will see a stopwatch very similar to most stopwatches. Android users in general have very rarely used their stopwatch. So if they see the Syncro stopwatch, they will think it is their stopwatch. Have Syncro angles. You just have to take care of the angles so that they do not see when you enter the URL or use your NFC, which will take you a few seconds. In the instructional video, you will see how to do it under the spectator's noses. How can I remove traces on the spectator's phone? On iPhone, you can just close the tab within Safari and then delete the access you created on the home screen. On Android, you simply go back 3 times. That will take you to the web page you were when you borrowed the phone. If you want no trace left in the history, you must enter the Syncro URL from an incognito window. We believe that this is not necessary since rarely any spectator will check the history when the trick you are performing is about stopwatch and you have never mentioned that you used the browser. Can I perform Syncro on close-up, parlor, or stage? Syncro is ideal for beginners and workers because you can create routines to any situation, from a small group of people to a large stage. Can I perform the tricks with my own phone? Yes, you can use Syncro on your own phone on Android or iPhone. We recommend that you practice on your phone and then do it on a borrowed phone. Will I receive updates? Yes, you will receive updates and also improvements and new functionalities in the future. That's a very transparent ad copy. It tells you everything you need to know. Yes, this can be done in multiple languages on your spectator's phone. And it does tell you the angles, watching out, don't have people watching behind you at the phone screen and other stuff. It's a very honest ad copy. Now, what is the price of Syncro? This costs $40. For that, you'll receive the NFC tag, the app, and the instructions. This is worth the price. If you use the Chronoforce Pro app, which I also reviewed, check that out after this. That is the same price as this, but can't be done on the spectator's phone, and it doesn't include an NFC tag. Again, there are differences because Chronoforce has slightly different features than this, but they're both very good apps. Now, what are the pros and cons of this? The pros are that many effects can be done with this. It can be done with iPhone or iOS, or iPhone or Android. The angles are great. This can be done on your spectator's phone. It's easy to do. The price is great. The app has a lot of features and is easy to navigate in front of your audience. The cons are you have to set it up on your spectator's phone, and if you take too long, your spectator may get suspicious of what you're doing. Also, your spectator's phone needs access to internet. It's pretty common, especially if you're in a public venue or if your spectator has data, but not everyone has it. And it might get a little awkward to ask, hey, do you have Wi-Fi or data or internet? And then your spectator won't really know why you're asking, especially because you're just accessing the clock app, which doesn't really need internet. And if you do borrow the phone without asking, then if it turns out they don't have any internet, then you have to give it back and say, you know what, we'll try a different trick. Or you can have a backup plan. You can do a calculator trick, toxic force, or something like that. And also, finally, there are a couple of app glitches sometimes, but I'm sure those will get fixed in the near future. What percent does this effect get? Syncro gets a 93%. It's great, and the fact that it can be done with your spectator's phone makes it even better. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.